Well, we definitely started out this weekend in the middle of the warm before the storm. Today, it's somewhere around 36 degrees, and in the sunlight, it's actually really comfortable. Because it's warm as it is, the snow and ice that has been remaining inside the barn here has actually started to melt and soften up enough that we can actually just scoop it up and get it out of here without having to chip away at it. So Everest is in here with the snow shovel, trying to get rid of most of that, while I'm starting to get the door blocked in and get things prepared to move with electricity. I'm also putting the doorknob into this door so that we can use it as an access point to come in and out. Over the next 4 or 5 days, we're supposed to have just nonstop storm and snow. So because of that, I'm going to secure this tarp across the main garage door really well so that it doesn't blow and allow the storm to blow in and fill the shop full of snow. With that being the case, having this personnel door usable and fully accessible will be a big help. As we spend time working on and in this space, we find ourselves thinking and rethinking about how it is we plan to use the space.
I have some ideas for the back.
Oh, I have ideas for the back.
No, I have ideas for the back.
I have ideas for the back too. This became such a big space pretty quickly back here.
Yeah,
I think we definitely bring a lean-to off the back too.
I agree 100%. This space, I've been thinking about a lot of it because I know you want to add a smokehouse now, and we want to add a brick oven. Is that what it's called? I thought it would be such a cool little spot because you have the processing kitchen to do that. And I would really like to see this be more like a cafe style outdoor area here. Like I want to keep these trees.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to build like a actual like picnic table with like good seating and stuff like that, and then have really good lighting out here too. So if you are thinking about doing a lean-to, I would either vote for having the puck lights like you're going to do everywhere else, or
Okay.
little sconces, like really cool little, or do both, but I think it'd be neat to have little sconces, like, and I wouldn't do like really bright lights or anything, but I would really like to see this little area be like something like that.
Okay. I think that on the back wall here, the smoker makes the most sense.
Right.
Now, to build the smokehouse, doesn't need to be huge. I'm thinking like 4x4, right?
Right, yeah.
But then we need a firebox for that. So I just thought if we're going to build a firebox to go for the smokehouse, why not build it a wood oven? And it can be dual purpose. It can be the firebox for that. You don't have to get it stoked up hot for a wood oven style if you're just planning on smoking.
Yeah.
But if you know you're planning on smoking, you can also start smoking in the morning, and by evening, like, the wood oven's hot, and you could throw in some bread too, kind of in conjunction with the same heat energy.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense, and I love it. I love the whole thing.
We could come off as far as like 14 feet out from here.
Uh-huh.
This one's going to be like 11 feet to the outside of the posts. And we could go up to about 14 feet pretty easily. More than that, we got to get a little bit more complex with the way we do it. It'd be awesome to have a little herb garden right in here for the kitchen space, so you can come right out and
so if you're doing like fresh herbs, you can throw that into the bread.
If you're doing bread, yeah, you can chop some fresh herbs and mix them right into the dough.
Yeah.
If you're doing smoking, you've got herbs available for the brine mix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Available. It needs to be in this cluster over here.
Yeah. Oh,
anything else over here, you're going to be in the shadow of the building. Yeah, so we can keep it out here to this edge. And you've got kind of like, we're going to have some boulders in here to retain this back, and the concrete will come from this and cut the corner here, so it'll kind of need to like cut off the corner, so you'll have some space here along between the boulders and the concrete that'll give you a space for like a good space for flower bed or garden bed of some kind.
Some sort. Okay.
So
having an area where you can sit down and you can like maybe plan a dinner out here, even though this will be more industrial and multi-meal.
Multi-use?
No. Um,
Hmm.
cooking more than one thing. So like when we do our breads, like I would like 10 loaves in there,
Yeah.
you know, instead of like one. But just having that area like where if you did want to make a roast and a bread and rolls and veggies
Sample some of your smoked
yeah,
meat and bread at the
and
same
have
time.
like a
have
little little time of doing something like that.
We had figured on putting some patio furniture right here outside the window anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, because you can get your stuff out of here, go
yeah,
prep,
and it's
cut it
it's
up
all
in the
right
kitchen.
in here anyway. You're in and out of the building out here to sit down and have your space. And
I think that would be good. I really like it.
okay.
We don't belong here. I want more out of life. The longer we stay here, our boots get stuck in the mud. Let's pack up a life, baby, and call it a night. 'Cause the longer we stay here, the harder the fight. I said, hey, yeah, 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 call it a start by leaving behind what's breaking our hearts. I said, hey, yeah, 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 follow the spark. Ain't nothing but a one way. We won't regret this. Let's kiss the past goodbye. I'm longing to live this free life I've been hearing about. You will see us howling like wolves in the night. 'Cause nothing is stronger than wanting what you might get. I said, hey, yeah, 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 call it a start by leaving behind what's breaking our hearts. I said, hey, yeah, 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 follow the spark. Ain't nothing but a one way. Ain't no worries, ain't no worries. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you? Oh, 'cause as long as we're together, home can be a million different things. I said, hey, yeah, 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 call it a start by leaving behind what's breaking our hearts. I said, hey, yeah, 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 follow the spark. Ain't nothing but a one way. Yeah, 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 call it a start by leaving behind what's breaking our hearts. I said, hey, yeah, 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 follow the spark. Ain't nothing but a one way. Ain't nothing but a one way. We don't belong here. I want more out of life. The longer we stay here, our boots get stuck in the mud.
catch me.
Gosh, that's dramatic.
I know. Kitchen. Kitchen outlets. Now, from the boxes to the switch.
All I have to say is you don't have very good lighting in here.
We're about to.
Well, it's just a little dim and dark.
Well, we're about to have it in place. See our power source? Still lacking.
Yes,
But it's closer.
it is closer. Good. You said electricians do these all the time?
Well, you gotta do the same thing. I'm sure they have a better system than I know. Now, ideally, I could have a scissor lift up here and be able to use that piece of equipment to get up to the trusses and install my boxes and get the wires run across the tops of the trusses and do all this stuff that's overhead and way up high in the air and do it much more safely ultimately. However, we're dealing with timing and we're dealing with road conditions, and I just don't think I could get a scissor lift up here to the barn in the kind of conditions that the roads are in right now. My hope is that I can get one up here sometime in the next couple of weeks as we start to get ready to install drywall. Our intention is to try to use up as much of the insulation as we can, as well as get all of the plywood up on the lower part of the walls, just to use up the materials and make space. Hopefully after that, we'll be able to get a trailer full of drywall up here, as well as tow in a scissor lift that we can get up here to use for hanging and mudding and taping the drywall. Well, I just finished plowing and I came up to grab my camera because I left it in here in the shop last night when we were done pulling power. Shop's kind of nice. It's clear, it's clean. You can see a little bit of snow blew in through the tarp right there. And a little bit right there blowing in as it whips around the corner. But let's see if I can turn this around. That's the new fresh pile. We got fresh snow, about 8 inches, and it's supposed to be here the rest of the day. And it did. It snowed the rest of the day and into the night, and this was the next morning. If that ain't the coolest view, I don't know what is. It's literally like living inside a snow globe up here. We got wires pulled through the ceiling. I only need one more coming from this box down to a box that I need to put in above the door for an outside light, and then a wire from that down to this box for the outside light switch. When we put any other lighting on the outside, like the lean-tos and stuff, I'm gonna do surface mount boxes on the outside, just because I don't wanna put them in the wall and run the risk of that box being right over a rib in the sheet metal when I put the metal up on the walls on the outside. We're gonna have lean-to concrete on both sides. On the front, we've got an approach apron that's gonna be across the front. The back, we're going to have just like a mow strip. But now that we've got the building coming together, pretty sure we're gonna end up with a lean-to off the back as well. So that will be just a concrete pad as well back there. So we've got basically surrounded by the concrete in the finished stage. In my plan with this wall down in here was that I'd have concrete come up to the wall here, and I'd have this gap between the concrete, and I was just gonna fill that with expanding foam. And that would give me a thermal break between the concrete slabs. I think it'll work really well, but I was gonna have concrete down before I did that. Now I don't have concrete up yet, so I'm gonna get a little creative and see if I can get this foamed in and closed off. I think I'm gonna use these little cut-off strips of plywood that I had from putting the walls up, and I'll probably just tuck them down in along the outside edge and see if I can keep that insulation in here and expanding this way so that I can fill up these voids. I'm using the expanding foam, trying to get in behind the posts and fill that back in the corners and stuff, and just kind of wrap some of that stuff up, get it ready. So when we put the batted insulation on, we won't have big gaps in the wall where there's no insulation. So it's super tedious though. So I've gotten from the corner here by the door, by the entry door, and I'm gonna work my way this way. We've got answers on the door. I should be picking up some materials for that here in the next day or two, so we can get the door put on. Supposed to be picking up the wood stove, hopefully Thursday. So that's 2 more days. We just have some R19 that we're gonna staple to the trusses. It's not gonna be enough insulation, but it'll at least get us our attic vents and a base level insulation across the ceiling. It'll act like a ceiling for us so that when we start to heat this in, we can actually trap the heat in here and not be losing it while we're trying to keep working. As tedious as this bit of work is, I think it's something that's going to make a significant difference in the overall performance of the insulation on this building. So I kept at this for a couple of hours until the cans started getting cold enough that they weren't working very well. Then I had to load up what was left, take them back to the house, and set them in next to the fireplace to warm them back up to their usable temperature range. By the time they warmed up to that temperature, the daylight was gone and there was no sense coming back up to work. Not only that, but the next bout of storms had rolled in and was starting to pile up the snow outside and was set to snow all night, meaning that I was to expect a lot of snow to deal with in the morning, as well as the associated chaos that comes with it.